Hi, my name's Allison, and today I'm building a purple townhouse in Paralives. I'm spinning a wheel, and whatever aesthetic we get on the wheel, we're building in that style. Hey, editing Allison here, and the audio got messed up for this, so I'm just doing a voiceover instead. And here I am at the wheel, spinning, and we get old money. And I'm talking about how fitting purple is for an old money aesthetic. And then I'm in the Paramaker, and I'm looking for an old money look. And Princess Core does have quite a bit of overlap with this one, too. It's kind of funny how some of them relate to each other, but I'm doing a more formal look, so an updo and a smoky eye, pearl necklace, looking for purple lipstick, but it looks a little bit too alt, so I think I decide against that. And I end up going with a long purple dress. And I'm looking forward to doing this style as well because it kind of ties together the street even a little bit more. You know, it's like a middle ground in between our futurist, our modern looks, and our more fantasy styles. And old money is a nice blending of those. So now I'm thinking about what I want to do for the exterior. I do like the mansard roof here. I think that is a kind of an old money look. And I think I took some inspiration from like Manhattan brownstones because most old money houses that I think of are huge, you know, they're like manors, but obviously we can't do that here because we already have our shell and the whole point of this is townhouses. So that's why I'm looking at bricks here, and don't worry, I will be changing the color to lavender. One option that I consider, I don't think I do it right away, I consider putting on some decals to give the bricks more of an old look because, you know, super new and clean bricks, that's a little bit more new money maybe. And I'm considering these stones as well, but I think I decide against them because they look really similar to the stones that we used for the Princess Core build. So then I'm looking at flooring here and I'm checking out these fences, but they seem a little bit too tall. I would like to go with a brick fence. I do think that if we had a huge lot with a manor, then this type of fence would be very fitting. But as is for a townhouse balcony, I think the stone one that I end up going with is a little bit better. And then I also pick out some stone flooring and a foundation, struggling with the stairs like always, and picking out a column. And I remember not being sure about this column. It's a little bit chunkier and more craftsman-like maybe than I want. And I'm also noticing that the roof piece on the blue house disappeared. And that's because it doesn't have the appropriate ceiling. And I think I figure that out later in the video. It needs like a floor underneath it for the roof piece to stay. Now I'm looking at front doors and I do end up going with this one. I like the trim around it. It feels kind of old-fashioned and built-in. And I think built-ins are a big theme in old houses. One of Laura Ingalls Wilder's books, she talks about how her husband built her like this whole pantry full of custom shelves and everything. And I know they're not old money, they're pioneers. I always thought that like built-in aspect was so cool. And especially, you know, someone you love making it for you, that was sweet. So here I'm putting in some plants and I remember wishing that there was a jade plant in here because in San Francisco, which is kind of what I'm inspired by here, there's so many big jade bushes and they grow really tall, but no jade plants. So I end up going with these other plants instead. And I do think they look nice. I think having a little like moment in the entry adds some of that grandeur that we're looking for. And I do end up getting some shuttered windows too. It's kind of a nice cap for the end of the street, just like we had them for our pink witch core build at the beginning. I play around with the colors a little bit here. I start out with more of a gray accent, but then I think that I want to go with white. I like the contrast a little bit better. I am looking forward to seeing how my style changes with our darker colors, our shadow selves. I'm also considering getting like really funky with the trim colors. Like I said, I'm really inspired by San Francisco here. And in San Francisco, sometimes you'll see like a deep blue house with like a bright yellow trim. They get really crazy sometimes. And of course, it depends on the aesthetic that we get, but I really love that. So I might try to incorporate some of that. We'll see how I feel. And I am adding some planter boxes, the ones with lavender. And then I'm just considering what else to do, I think. So I think I do go into landscaping and I want to make a custom planter box for underneath our little bay. I'm doing that with half walls. It's a little bit tricky getting dirt in because we don't have a dirt flooring at the moment, but you can substitute like a brown carpet and it still looks pretty good. And now I'm just adding some purple flowers. And I did notice not all of the flowers are recolorable, which is a little bit of a shame, but we do have our big lush lavender bushes, which I am excited to use. If we use them on any house, it's got to be this one. Also, the topiaries, they are an old money plant for sure to me. Gotta afford a gardener. So I put in a couple there to greet you as you walk up the steps. And then I think that I end up lining the whole side of the house with some other topiaries. All right, so we've done our exterior. I'm going to check the trims just to see. Oh, I do kind of like that. I do think the topiaries and the plants have added a lot to make this look old money. No, but my roof is gone. Oh no, my blue one is gone. Orange one's still there. But what happened to my roofs? No. Okay, well, maybe I'll add them back in later. That's a shame though. Let's get a floor plan. So I don't think we can do curved stairs right now, which is too bad because like a grand staircase might be something, but we also don't have a lot of space. So we could take a break from our platforms and just kind of have it against the wall like that. I don't know if Apara can get up there, but she is moving. Seems fine. So freaky how these plants are moving. I'm not putting anything there. I think I'm just going to wall that off. Upstairs, we can have our bed, maybe our kitchen downstairs. This house is so small though. Okay, how about like a half wall? Looks decent. And I do think like a real wallpaper makes sense for old money. This one's more cottagey than old money, I would say. See, this one just feels overwhelming, but maybe if we change the colors, yeah, that's not so overwhelming. We can definitely put in some molding. And I don't know which ones are supposed to be interior versus exterior. My auntie's house in San Francisco has this like, I always called it an egg molding. I don't know if that's the real term, but it looked just exactly like a bunch of eggs in a row together. I was kind of hoping we would have that here. That one's definitely too thick. Yeah, I don't want something too chunky. You do this like herringbone. Okay, I think I want to try to get the kitchen in here. Unfortunately, we can't have molding on the stair wall. The wallpaper also doesn't really carry through. It's just the same color. Yeah, if we put our counters along there, maybe it'll look good. Okay, I want a marble countertop. And it's old money, but I think it'll have new appliances. Oh, but I don't think we'll be able to get a range hood if we do that. Oh, this is a big fridge. All right, that's kind of nice. And then upper cabinets, definitely. So this is our bathroom. And I do think the wall is not at a 90-degree angle, but that's okay. It's the wooden seat, old money. It doesn't feel like it. Torn on what toilet to get. A bathtub would be great, but I don't think we have space. I think we would have to bring the wall over just like slightly. Okay, yeah, we'll have to redo the molding. Then we could get this old tub. Okay, I'm hoping that'll work. So we can take the square dining tables, shrink them. Yeah, we could put it like that and get some chairs in. I do think these ones are the old moneyest. So we could put a little bench. That one definitely says old money to me. So I think I might know how to fix our porch roof problem. I think that the issue is that we don't have any ceiling tiles here. Okay, yeah, and already it's being placed easier. And I'm so excited for advanced roof tools to come. That might be the update that I'm most looking forward to. That and pools. Okay, there we go. I will look at the decals again just to see if anything looks good on this. There's like a fine line between dirt and patina. So maybe just like a couple of those. We can make them bigger or smaller if we want to. The other thing that I thought of was ivy, because I do think vines seem like a very old money addition to a house. And it kind of bookends the lot nicely because the witch also has vines growing up her house. Now it would be really awesome if we could have ivy that wrapped around a column, but I don't think that we can quite get it to fit, but maybe one day in the future. And I do think that's added a bit of age to this house. I think a white kitchen with marble countertops would feel pretty old money. And then I want to figure out what to do with this stair area because I don't think that we can put some items on it like a shelf or a range hood. And those are the things that I normally would want to put there. Maybe we can put like something interesting in there, like a treasure chest or a skeleton. We could put both maybe. I heard that you can go just anywhere to any lot and like copy anything that you want, including the ocean. Okay, now we're going to go try to copy paste that treasure chest. Now I believe it's in the tower. Yeah, I can copy it. And there's a skeleton in there too. Got our skeleton guarding our little treasure chest. We never did use this castle for our princess core build, but look how big it is. There's no room. Yeah, and a tiny old money home does seem like a little bit of an oxymoron, but we're doing our best. Okay, so we definitely need a fancy coffee machine. I think we want the good microwave too. And this is going to be a single para home, I think, because like where the heck am I going to put a double bed? And now an old money bed. I think it may be this one again because we do want like the older looking furniture. Maybe we can go with this quilted pattern. I really wish we had a rainbow pattern in here. I remember when somebody made one for The Sims 3 and that was so exciting, especially for like the rainbow legacies that I would play. Did anybody else do that? Because the color wheel is really bringing me back to those days. I think maybe a study area would be good here. And I think we will do the old-fashioned desk again. Oh, it does not want to fit in there. So maybe just facing the window, we can get like a deep mahogany. Yeah, maybe this executive office chair, but we'll make it purple. If we could put a typewriter, I totally would. Let's get a bookshelf. I like this one with the door sliding across. Yeah, there's something about really long curtains that feels old money to me. Okay, I like that. And we definitely need a rug. This one, it's not purple, but it's next to it on the color wheel. I don't think it looks bad there. It does tie in some of the reds from the bookshelf. Oh, and they've added some rugs that you can put any custom pattern on. So I think that's definitely going to be fun. Let's see if we got anything good that we could put on this one now. Put a big duck. They did add in some new paintings too. This one's new. vegetables. That might be a good one for downstairs. There's this knot. Some more fruits and vegetables. I like those ones a lot. Some little mice, very cute. Some like pop art, a sun and moon, classic art prints. There's this checkerboard pattern. I like that. But nothing's screaming out old money to me. And these two are like a matching set. Maybe some big mirrors. Maybe we could go with some round ones. The old money aesthetic is the one that I'm least sure about out of the 6 that we've done so far. Because I know it's not just like traditional. Even old money wealthy families will have updated their interiors a little bit, but I'm just not sure how. I was thinking maybe some more shelves down there. Something built in might be nice. Could do some paneling or something. And then maybe some columns. Can I get this one here? I think maybe we'll remove the trim around the half walls because it is looking strange. I like the little enclosed office space. And I do want to make a nice like built-in shelf kind of thing up here. These are separator wall. We can raise it up so it matches the desk. Okay, and then get a half wall maybe. I might try something which is going to take a little time. There's this plank trapdoor too, which I am tempted to use because I feel like a secret passageway in an old house makes a lot of sense. Maybe we'll just stick with the planks to look a little bit more custom. Okay, and it can't be shrunk with the normal tools, so I'll have to use the advanced transform tool. And by the way, I feel like a lot of people call this different things. Like some people call it tool mod, some people call it the toggle tool because the button says toggle advanced transform tool. I've been calling it the advanced tool, but advanced transform tool is kind of a mouthful. Okay, and then we come to the outside. Oh, this is gonna take a while. This is reminding me of math class. Like, does anybody remember Riemann sums? That took a while, but here we are. And I don't think that it's showing on the outside. A window did disappear. Not sure who it is who lives here. It being such a small place seems to indicate that maybe it's like a younger child of a wealthy family. Maybe they have a job at the family business, but they don't live at their parents' estate. I like a blanket at my desk. Yeah, maybe a little clock and this branch thingy. Maybe we can use some of our like office clutter, like an in tray here, a notepad, some Post-its. So we're gonna make them all purple. Obviously. This is a huge newspaper. This built-in desk area took so long, but I am happy with that. And our little rug. We've got our clock there. Oh, we can have a custom mug. Somewhere to sit and read. Maybe this chair. The texture on it's very nice. I do wish we had more antique rug options because I kind of want to put in another antique. Yeah, that's just too repetitive. Okay, what if we put in the orangey one? Kind of giving Fry and Layla. Oh, this one has a border. I kind of like that. That's better. What if we do put in a nicer tub? Well, nicer. I mean, one that doesn't have the water in the bottom. And then I think maybe like a tile would be good. Although old houses do tend to have wooden floors sometimes. Yeah, we could do like a zellage. Yeah, maybe we leave the floor, but keep the tile also. Yeah, maybe the Monet would be nice. He was quite a purple enthusiast. I do think the deer head kind of says old money. These things always creep me out. And at least this one is made out of wood, it looks like. We don't have a lot of chandeliers. And I am so happy that we can pull it down. Do another Monet and a Van Gogh and a Matisse. And we'll put Monet in the middle because he is the purplest. I really want to do a built-in bookshelf, but I don't know where I can fit it. I should set the table. I could get some candles in maybe. I think these tall candlesticks. Yeah, champagne bottle. For some reason, having a box for your bread seems kind of a wealthy person thing. I don't know why. And the most old money thing to do would be to have a wine cellar, but that's outside the scope of what I'm doing, I think. The HOA would never allow it. This one could be somebody just playing at old money aesthetic without really being old money. That would explain why it's such a small house. It's driving me kind of crazy how I can't put anything on the stair wall. At the entrance, I think we could do something that gives us space for a little coat rack. Or maybe just a hanging coat. It doesn't want to play nicely with the molding though. And we could use a little entry table, I think. I think some flowers on here. Because this person's going to be a jet setter, definitely. But it's old money, so we should do the old trunks. We can give them some like vintage stickers on here too. Maybe we can put a few of these vases around because I do feel like having a bunch of the same flower throughout the house, it feels like a wealthy person thing. I am trying to strike a balance. I don't want too much clutter, but I do want it to look lived in. So I'm thinking we'll get a bunch of matching jars and maybe make a few of them bigger. You know, those are like for the flour and sugar. I can get some fancy olive oils. And I don't know why they have so many glasses because they definitely can't entertain more than like one other person. Oh, and this person could have the whole Dutch oven collection. good. Little food scale. Fruit bowl too. I gotta figure out something with this though. I have to suck it up and put a wall in, and we'll get our range hood in. And maybe some kind of picture here. Yeah, these kind of remind me of Chef's Illustrated, I think it's called. Some kind of chef magazine. Okay, we'll put this vegetable one over here. And now we have some lovely towels. Make it purple. And we can get a little hand towel too. Put it on that side so we don't get confused when we're using the toilet. And then we want our toilet paper. We'll get the fancy one. Ooh, but because of the molding, it has to go like way high up. That's what we got to do. We'll get a trash can in here as well. And then maybe like a cabinet above the toilet for some storage. Okay, so here's your bathroom so far. I stretched out a light to go up here. And I still don't know where the heck I can put in a built-in bookshelf. I feel like every square inch is already being used. But if we move our deer head maybe to the stairwell, actually then we have space for like a row of them. Grandpa carved all of those by hand. There's trophies. Oh, that is going to be a tight squeeze. Okay, what a pain. This one looks pretty good though. It's like a pretty close fit. And then we can just get some shelves to match it. All right, gorgeous. We got another built-in. Oh my God, it's such a small space. Thank goodness we can shrink it down a little. Yeah, that's pretty cute. Maybe we'll get a little ivy up the side here. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about how this looks. So I will see you in the house tour. So that was our purple old money townhouse. And I'm pretty happy with the way that it turned out. I do think the tiny home old money aesthetic is a very challenging one. I think we managed to capture some of the grandeur that we get with old houses. I do think that the built-ins, the bookshelf, and the desk help a lot. The only thing that I wish we could have done was get a little more separation between rooms. Like the kitchen, I feel like in an old money house that would normally be closed off for servants. But considering how small the space is, I don't think we could have actually closed it off. And I'm very happy with the topiaries and the ivy outside. I think that adds a lot of old money flavor. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.